still here at Marina Furniture in Guaymas. We did not go out and anchor locally like we thought we would because it all started with battens and one thing led to another.
The day before we planned to leave the marina, we decided it would be better to install the new battens while at the dock. Zoom Sales, when shipping us the new staysail, sent along mainsail battens to replace the battens that broke in transit when our mainsail was first shipped to us. When the tightly tensioned battens were released from the packaging, they immediately sprang apart, and I was surprised they retained no memory of being coiled. We raised the sail to see if the battens could be installed without removing it from the boom, and this led to the discovery of a wobbly winch, which led to Lee servicing all the winches on the mast. In the end, we decided to remove the sail from the boom and install the battens with the sail on the deck. An empty boom led to the decision to install the MacPack. Our old sail cover never properly fit the new, stiffer and bulkier mainsail, and our homemade lazy jacks were not at all effective. Back in November, when I mentioned we were thinking of a mainsail stack pack, a viewer suggested taking a look at the MacSails webpage and checking out the MacPack. We liked what we saw, and in March I ordered a MacPack. It is made in Florida and took about 6 weeks to receive after ordering. There is an instructional installation video and also detailed written instructions. It was recommended in our case that the included cheek blocks be installed 26 feet above the boom. Lee used an ATN mast climber, and with a separate halyard attached to the bosun chair, I took up the slack. Lee doesn't go up the mast as fast as the younger person in the ATN advertisement, but it is a lot easier for me because I don't have to supply the muscle power to winch him up. The cooler, cloudy morning soon gave way to the hot sun. Since Lee was already up the mast, this led to him continuing on up to the top to lube the halyard sheaves and check on the non-functioning wind instrument, which I will talk about a little later. Also, as a side note, our mast has 2 sets of collapsible mast steps at the top. These steps lend extra support and stability when working at the very top of the mast, and we appreciate having them. Lee mounted the additional hardware on the boom. He used the recommended Tef gel to provide a molecular corrosion barrier between the dissimilar aluminum and stainless. Some sailors use lanolin to provide the same protection. We're not sure if we were off with our measurements because the pack seems a little long for the boom, and we had more overlap at the mast than expected. We will have to see how the pack works for us under actual sailing conditions when we can come into the wind to lower the sail. We'll let you know how that goes. With the addition of the MacPack, we were no longer able to use our main awning, as it formally draped over the top of the sail. As the interior of the cabin reached broiling temperature, this led to an immediate alteration of the awning. The awning will eventually need replacing, so as a trial, I used a hot knife and cut the awning down the center lengthwise. The material is super thin, so I'm going to reinforce it. Here, I've already reinforced it a few years ago where it was starting to wear over the top of the boom, so this is really thick and good to go. But I will
go ahead and sew on one of these gray panels. And I do believe this is the same material, but it's interesting how it's faded and changed color in the sun.
I sewed the reinforcement panels, and Lee helped with installing the twist lock fasteners on the strips that will be under the sail and hold the now separate sides together. You may be wondering about my color choices for the test design. It is actually for practical reasons. I have plenty of both colors, but the gray is being held in reserve for the eventual replacement awning. The yellow sombrella can be overwhelming when used by itself, but I think looks nice as an accent. Our test awning seems to be working, and the cabin stays much cooler. As a sewing cruiser, a few other items that I have used this past week and which are handy to have around are grommets. I have different sizes of grommet hole cutters and dies, but these number 2 brass spur grommets are the ones I use most frequently. Other items are hog ring pliers, hog rings, and bulk bungee cord, which are useful for fastening side shades to stanchions, awnings to shrouds, and what have you. I use a lighter to seal the ends of the cut cord, and I use 2 rings per end, and am probably overdoing it. 1 would probably be sufficient. Ah, yes, the wind instrument. Our wind direction and speed indicator stopped functioning on the Baja side in February. Thinking back, it was also at the same time the depth sounder acted up, and there had been a flurry of button pushing. The depth sounder problem was temporary and probably due to some debris that had collected on the transducer. But it wasn't until Lee, at the top of the mast, not finding a problem with the wind indicator connector, actually got out the instructions and found by resetting everything that the wind indicator works just fine too. Hooray! No expensive solution. It has been a busy week, and I'm not going to say what we will do in the next few days, because our plans always seem to change. One thing leads to another. So, until next time.